Here come the big rig kids, y'all. Are you ready? Let's go. Here come the big rig kids. Roll with the big rig kids. Let's have fire the truck take you to such a
And we're back. We do thank you for your patience as we had a little hiccup there, but nothing is going to stop us from getting these messages out to you lovely people. And thanks again for your patience. As I said earlier, we do have a wonderful, exciting guest today who's done some amazing things out there, helping people in every kind of way that he can, as well as building them up and helping them build themselves up. But before we get deeper into him, let's introduce the grandma that everybody knows and love. You know her, I know her, and you know her book just released, her fourth book just released, as you've seen the little promo at the beginning of the show. So give it up, ladies and gentlemen, for the grandma that you know and love, Miss Grandma Polly.
Hello. Hey guys. We apologize again for the technical difficulties. But I appreciate you all joining us. I appreciate you all watching us because this conversation that we're having this evening is a very important one. I have two requests. One, share it, share, and share. The other one, give us some love. Show us some hearts on the bottom of this. Give us some hearts, and hearts. But this evening, I would like to welcome my son-in-law, my son, Chico Irby. But before I turn it over to him, I have my new book out, which we're dealing with racism. But the third book that was before this fourth book is Daddy's Home. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about that. With Daddy's Home, we know that Kaden and Sasha is a set of twins. Their mom died during childbirth. So Josh ended up with custody of these children, but he was active duty military. He allowed his mom to have temporary custody of these kids until he completed his time that he was serving over in Afghanistan. I created Josh as a strong black man because in our society, our black men are looked down upon, they're frowned upon, they're called deadbeat dads, they don't care about their children, they're going to prison more often than others, and guess what? That is not true all the time. Our black men are strong. They have battles just like us women do. So today I want to bring forth a positive message to show that not all black men are deadbeat dads. Because we have two of them here today. My brother Kenneth and my son Chico Irby. Chico is here to really shine some light on how our black men are treated through the court systems when it comes down to dealing with our children. And as he introduced himself, he's going to tell you a little bit about himself, and then we're going to go into the conversation. So I'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you who came back and who are here to join in this conversation. And around 7:40 maybe, we'll open the lines up if you want to call in. The number is actually scrolling across the screen. And so now, Chico, I open the doors to you. Let's welcome Chico Irby.
Good evening, good night, and good morning, wherever you're at tuning in. Thank you, Grandma Polly, for having me. Uncle Kenny, thank you too. It is a pleasure. I'm truly blessed to have this platform to speak about something that I consider a pandemic for black men dealing with family court. I am the creator of Irby University. I'm also the creator of Irby. Irby stands for Young Black Rising individuals, rising. So I want everybody to please tap in and please pay attention, because what I'm going to give you is no legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, but what I am is a father that's been dealing with the court system for 13 years and still dealing with it to this day. And I want to just share the things that I've learned along the way, my triumphs, my pitfalls, my breakthroughs, my breakdowns, and all of the craziness with all of this gray hair coming from that situation.
Oh boy.
Yes, okay. Chico, I hear you often use that phrase, weekend dad.
Absolutely.
Some people may not know what that weekend dad means because if you're somebody like me, my grandfather was my dad. I didn't have the weekend dad, the week dad, the holiday dad, not from my biological dad because I had a full time dad by my grandfather. So,
Absolutely.
kind of tell us a little bit about that
Well, my definition of a
weekend
weekend
dad.
dad is basically a father seeing their child, over the weekend. But I got into that situation when I was in family court, and they told me that, okay, well, you can have her for the weekend. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, how do I create a relationship in 48 hours? So that's the weekend dad. So basically, how that works in most court systems is that you get the weekend off, and then on your non-weekend days, you get one like night visit where you can hang out with your daughter, or for me, it was my daughter, for a certain amount of hours and then drop them off. So that's pretty much what weekend dad is. But the thing is that, for me, I was told a long time ago, when you get your kid, just have fun. You don't have time for anything else. Just have fun, 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 fun. And even though that's exactly what I attempted to do, I had to still deal with all of the negativity that came along with this situation. So even when I was trying to pick up my daughter, and it was my weekend, and things didn't always go the way that it was supposed to go. So that's my definition of a weekend dad. Some dads don't have the weekend off; they may have Monday, Tuesday off, so that you still fall into that category of just seeing your child, for 48 hours, or maybe a little bit more than 48 hours, but not enough to really build a bond, for having lasting impact when it comes to your children, visitation.
Okay. So you've explained to me what the weekend dad is, but you did not, did you become a weekend dad by choice or was it by the courts?
It wasn't by choice. It was what they gave me. The courts definitely dictated how I was going to see my child. It was pretty much, whenever my weekends fall, I was able to get my daughter. But the difference was, between my situation, I wasn't getting my daughter on the weekend like that, not regularly. In the beginning, it was very difficult. So it was definitely forced on me. And I think sometimes, as an adult, it shouldn't be an outside entity creating, a space for you and your kids. It should be actually the two people, the two parents that actually created the children. And it is very
Mhm.
difficult. It is very difficult. It is very difficult, and it is kind of demeaning and belittling when you're actually a mature enough individual to actually sit down and have a conversation. But it's so much negativity in that space where they don't even want to listen to you or hear you for who you are as an individual.
Right. And I could respect that. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit because we're going to talk more about your life, but I want to put this out here. And I told you guys why I created Josh the way I created Josh as a character in the book. But I also know that there are women out here today who are having children. And because whatever the situation is that happened between them and the man, they tend to start using these children as pawns. So now it goes back to what you said earlier, where the court has to intervene and the court gives the order as to, okay, well, he's going to see the kids this time, or he's going to see the kids the court dictates basically. And to me, it's another form of racism, another form of control, another form of, in a way, something that derived from slavery. Because if you remember back during the slave times, what they did, they sold the wives off, or they sold the husband off. So they broke the family up. And when you have to go through the courts with this stuff, a lot of times these judges are listening to these women. And just because a woman gave birth to a baby does not make her a mother. So now the mothers have the children and the dad is gone when these kids need mom and dad. Because me being a mom, I can teach my girls how to be ladies, but I can't teach them how to be a man or how a man should treat them. There are certain things that they get from their fathers that us as mothers we cannot give. And I still say it all ties hand in hand. And because women, in a lot of cases, use these kids as pawns. And now you were one who went to court and fought, and you've been fighting for years. But there are a lot of guys who just give up and say, the heck with it, I'm not going to be bothered. It takes up too much time, it costs too much money, too much this, that, whatever. You want to tell us a little bit about your journey through that? And I'm quite sure it had to have some type of bearing on your health, because when we're stressed out and we're going through, it turns internal and it starts doing stuff to the bodies. So tell us
Absolutely.
a little bit about that journey.
Well, this is actually pretty interesting. During that time, I mean, I was going through the ringer, back and forth with the court. I was working about 3 hours away from Manhattan, upstate, and it was just a constant struggle just to see her, my daughter, let alone go back and forth with the court. And one of the things that happened to me was that I ended up having like heart palpitations one night at work, and I got rushed to the hospital, and it was serious. I thought it was just maybe I was stressed out, but it come to find out after taking a stress test and getting a catheterization, it literally was the doctor said we can't find anything like wrong with you, but the fact is just blood is not going to the front of your heart. So he told me, he said, whatever you're stressing about is killing you.
Hmm.
It's going to kill you. So that right there was like, okay, cool. But I still had a couple of follow up appointments, and I will never forget this. And I want to share this story with you because sometimes strangers create the most impact in your lives. While I was sitting there at this heart clinic, um, it was I was the youngest person there. I was in my late 20s at the time. I was the youngest person there, and everybody there was in their like 90s. And the only people that was young or considered young was like their children that was bringing the parents there. And this older lady, she just kept staring at me, kept staring. I'm like, why this lady staring at me? Like, I don't know this lady. What happened was she got up. She struggled to get up. She struggled to walk, and her son was like on his phone at the time, and he didn't even realize what was going on. So when he seen his mom jump, like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she was like, "Take me to that young man right over there." So she goes over to me, and she says, "Young man, what are you doing here?" She said, "I'm supposed to be here. I'm 96 years old. I'm 96 years old. What are you doing here?" And I just said, "I got heart problems." And she said, "No, no, 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 no." She said, "Whatever you're doing, please stop. Whatever you're doing, stop. Because you should not be here. I know you're not over 30." And I wasn't over 30. So that shook me to the core because I'm a black guy in an all white neighborhood. This white lady don't know me, but she had enough sense to say, "Hey, listen, you need to stop doing what you're doing." And from that point, I realized how much the stress of me not seeing my kid, the stress that the courts have me going through because they consider me a deadbeat dad because they've seen so many before me, and if he'll fall in line just like everybody else. So for me, it really truly affected my health because I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I honestly did not know what to do, but eventually I started working out, started taking care of myself, and that was like the first mind shift mindset shift that I created is like, okay, you know what? I can't let this stress me out. So the way I counteracted my stress was by working out. That's why I was going so hard for so many years, because that was the first way I was able to alleviate the stress. And eventually I had stopped having heart palpitations. The doctor said I didn't have to come anymore after a couple of visits. And I knew right then and there, like, okay, my physical is now in a better place than what it was before. I was truly stressed. I was smoking about 2 packs of Black and Miles a day. I was eating crazy. I was drinking, because I was just trying to numb the emotions of just going through the ringer, just to spend moments with my child. Moments going to court, and oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing that. Can I see my kid? Oh, no, you got supervised visit. Like, my first time seeing my daughter was on a supervised visit. Do you know what that feels like for a brand new father that did nothing? I was never physical, but to with my daughter's mother, to sit there and have somebody pretty much scrutinize everything you're doing, even though they're doing their job, that really took a toll on me. But when I started working out, I seen the difference. I seen that it really helped me control the emotions, the negative emotions that was created, or drawn into from this situation.
Okay. And I'm hearing you saying supervised visits. Okay. How did you get there? And I'm not talking about by transportation. How did it get to the point to where you had to have supervised visits?
Well, for me, it was. I mean, I went to court. I went to court after visiting my daughter for the first time when she was born. Like, I didn't even know my daughter was born. My daughter was born 2.5 months premature. I found out on Facebook that my daughter was here, and I almost crashed my car that day. And eventually, when I found out what was going on, I immediately reached out to the mom. I didn't really get the the welcome that I needed to say, okay, we're gonna work things out. Maybe we'll work on a relationship. Like, 'cause I wasn't there, I wasn't allowed to be around at all. Like, I was, and I know my ex, my daughter's mother. She had a really she had a real bad pregnancy. So I don't. Maybe she just didn't want me around because I was gonna stress her out because I was emotional. I don't know, but I eventually went down to court and I filed paperwork. But surprisingly, when I went down to fill out paperwork, because that's all I knew. I knew the only way I'm gonna see my kid is through court, but I didn't know how treacherous this entity was. I went down to fill out paper, and the guy said, "Hey, oh, Mr. Irby, by the way, you have a court appearance on such and such date." And I was like, "What? What do you mean? Like, my daughter was just born." Well, 3 days after my daughter was born, while she was still in the hospital as a preemie, the mother moseyed on down to court and filed. I didn't even have a chance to say, no, I don't want to have this kid, or I don't want to have nothing to do with this kid. I was already put in the system. I was already put in the system. And from there, it just got very interesting. Even when it came to, child support, like, I put myself on child support because I knew there was something brewing, and I didn't want to be a part of that conversation. Like, no, let me take care of my child, put it on my medical. I'll take care of whatever support I got to do, I'll do. I knew that. That's all I knew, because I didn't have anybody that I knew personally. And if I did know them, they never shared their events or their lessons from family court. So I pretty much did this on my own. But it was interesting. It was a roller coaster that was already grounded. And so that's how I got to court, because one, she already filed. Two, I went down to file, found out she filed already. And then I just said, well, I'll just put no child support, and and just go from there, you know.
Okay. I see you and I hear you. And not very many men, and I can't say not very many, I'll put it like this. I don't know very many men who would have taken the steps that you have taken. It's just like I said in the beginning, we have plenty of our men who are stand up guys, who are doing right, But when the light is shining, it's always focused on the negative ones. And we need to change that narrative because there are so many of you guys out there who are doing what you're supposed to do. But then you have these mothers on the other hand who are trying to block what that dad is trying to do. And yes, I'm going to say that, and it probably makes some ladies mad, and it's okay. I love y'all. But we have to step up and accept accountability too,
Absolutely.
because it comes from both sides. And you know, with all the negative things going on in the beginning, what did you do for yourself to create peace and clarity within your life, you know?
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, fathers out there, I want you to hear what I'm about to tell you because this lesson that I've learned didn't happen overnight. It was a mindset shift. I had to really start to understand who I was as an individual. I had to separate myself from every conversation that I've ever came across in my life at that moment, and I had to figure it out myself. Success is a lonely road. And why is it lonely? Is because you have to take that first, second, third, and final step until you die. That's how you create success. And the thing is that for me, it was hard. It was very hard because this is an entity, this is an area that I have no idea, at the time didn't know anything about. But so I started educating myself. I started reading books, personal development. Personal development is basically an entity that will help create a different person, a better person, level yourself up. So I started with personal development. I started getting around the right people. I started having different conversations. I started to understand that, okay, this is what court is. Court was built on a negative foundation. So no matter what you do, it's going to be negative. Even if there is positivity that comes out of it, it's going to be negative. So why would I go in there hoping and wishing for something to be super positive from them? It has to come from me. And that's one of the things that I live by is that I am the creator of my world. I'm the creator of my peace. I'm the creator of my harmony. I'm the creator of my happiness. So I had to take full responsibility of how I'm going to move on. No matter what goes on, if I don't get to see my daughter, if I got to keep going back to court, I'm going to put my best foot forward. I'm going to create a different personality. I'm going to create a different person. 13 years ago, I'm not the same person I am right now. It's because I was seeking knowledge and knowledge came to me and I was able to transform who I was to be who I am right now. It's not going to be easy because you have to get rid of all of those habits that came from your parents, your environment, or from your friends. And there was a lot of habits that were holding me back from just accepting that situation for what it is. And once I accepted that situation for what it is, things got better. Why did things get better? Because I got better. I got super good at being positive. I started realizing that I can control the narrative in my head. I can control how I feel. I can control my actions. And trust me, it didn't happen overnight. It took time. I was diligent. And yes, sometimes I fell off. Sometimes I got upset. Sometimes I cursed. Sometimes I wanted to fight. But I'm only human. But I knew that if I stepped out of line, somebody was going to smack me back in the court and say, look what he did. And it was a situation. There was a situation that the cops got called. It was very ugly. I mean, hands was about to get thrown, and for me, I started to realize, let me step back, let me call the cops. And even though I looked like I was the aggressor, the interesting thing was once the police got called, and once the police, figured out that no, I'm supposed to be here, everybody on the other camp got in trouble. And that was a moment for me to say, listen, I could have really just went crazy because I want to see my kid. And I learned back then that you have to control your emotions. You have to understand that you have to be in control of who you are. And if you're not in control, your habits, that negative energy will kick in. It will kick in. But for me is, you have to educate yourself on who you are. You have to know what makes you upset. You have to know what makes you happy. You have to read. You have to get around people. You have to get around successful individuals that are doing it better than you. And if you have to seek them out, so be it. Put your your big boy pants on and get out there and do your due diligence. And it was something when I was going through the courts all those years ago. I had to take a couple of courses, and I remember I remember sitting there and listening to all of the events of all these other fathers. I mean, some of these dudes went to jail. Some of these dudes hit their kids. Did some kids got burnt. And the interesting thing was, it was like, when they heard my story, they was like, "How are you standing right now? How does she deny you the birth of your child? How is she not letting you see your kids? Why has she got you going?" And I'm standing there with this, like, well, I got to do what I got to do to see my kid. And that was the first time I realized that statement. I've been saying that statement for 13 years. The first day I was in court, like, not the first day, but like the second or third appearance, I told the court, I told the judge, I said, "Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do." I didn't know that I was speaking that into existence. I didn't know. I didn't know that my words creates my reality. I found out later on, years down the road. But what happened was, because I started to talk like that, I started to move like that. I became resourceful when it came to whatever you need me to do, Your Honor, to see my kid. Like I said in my live last week on Sunday, I said I took a 16-week course in 8 weeks. How did I do that? I found out, because I was being resourceful, that the back end, the 16, 16, 15, 14 classes was given out on week 2. So I was there every week doing what I had to do and got it done in 8 weeks. So that was an eye opener for me. It's like, what else can I do if I become resourceful? And the biggest thing that I learned, again, gentlemen, you have to control your emotions. You have to control. Yes, I get it. Get your gift, the most amazing gift your creator can ever give you is your children. And somebody and something was holding me from that. And I was able, it took me a couple of years to finally see how I can control my emotions. And it went from this sporadic, couldn't speak every time I had to speak to my daughter's mother, to now I can articulate, I can speak, I can say, "Okay, no problem. I can't see it, no problem. I'll reschedule for another day." And to me, that right there is priceless. And the reason why it's priceless, because I know that I'm controlling my emotions and who I am, and I'm not giving certain people reactions based off of the past. So that's what I had to do. I had to become resourceful. I had to create a new personality, and open myself up to personal development, and read books, and get around people that's doing it better than me, and take notes, and just get uncomfortable. Get
Okay,
uncomfortable.
I hear you. So you use the word resourceful, and I'm no psychologist or anything. We're just here having a conversation. But also hear the word healing. You started to heal. And in a lot of cases, you have a broken woman and a broken man. Both of them get together and they have children. And all the time, it's not so easy, because you have broken people who are having broken children. And now you're going through these battles back and forth. So in the resources and stuff that you speak about, I also hear healing. And I think it needs to be on both sides,
Absolutely.
where the male and the female needs to heal. Back during slavery, it was the black woman was there protecting that man. Oh, we're Massa don't. We sacrificed a lot of ourselves to protect that man. But now today we're living in a society where we're so divided. It's like, let's attack the black man. They're this, they're that, they no good, they're this. But in the same tone, when you listen to the music and you watch the TV shows, it comes down, the women are whores, they're bees, they're hoochies, they're this. So the disrespect is so big there, it just creates more of a divide. And we need to get back to that healing, to where we're loving each other, to where we're protecting each other, because these children are gifts who came through us. But the divide is just so big. And I'm going to go to this one other question, and then Kenny, we're going to pop you in here because you've had some experiences also. But Chico, how did you put yourself on child support? How did it affect your finances? How did you overcome that?
Oh man, let me. I it really see, at the time I had just got a new job, and I took a major pay cut. So when child support kicked in the beginning, I was in arrears. I didn't even know what arrears was. All I knew was that I had enough money to last me to payday. I would literally have to drive to work, sleep in my car for the night until the money cleared so I can do it all over again. I had enough for a gym membership, enough for food, enough for rent, and that was it for the first 12 months. And I mean, they were destroying me. I was too afraid to work overtime because, now I'm hearing, oh, you work overtime, this, and the third. So I didn't work any overtime. I mean, it was overtime like crazy, but I didn't work any overtime. But see, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. As a man, I gotta take care of my kid. So if I was with the mom or not with the mom, I still got to pay this money. I still got to kick out this money. It might be a little bit less or might be more. I don't know. We didn't stay together. So what I did was I built a conversation around it. And the conversation was like, don't worry about it. You'll be all right. Live beneath your means. And for a long time, I lived beneath my means. I found other ways to create income. I created certain businesses. I got a part of multi-level marketing, and I learned how to live without for a very long time. I sacrificed. Fathers can't buy the Hennessy no more. You can't go out. Can't buy them $300 shoes no more. You have to sacrifice. You got to take care of your kids. You see, the thing is this. This is one thing I say about finances. If you every day complain about not having any money, that's exactly what this universe is going to give you. No money. But if you know that there's an abundance of money out there, an abundance of income, abundance of cash flow, you know what happens? Things happen which seems like miracles, or like, where did that come from? Because we brought that into us. I'll give you an example. I work with this lady, right? She's an older lady, and every day, oh, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no money. And I just said, Miss, you eat out a lot. You spend $40 a day every single day when you at work. If you don't have any money, why are you eating out? How about you start cooking your food? And what happened was she realized how much money she was spending every day, because she changed the conversation and she started to understand, like, I don't need to eat out every day. That's $40 a day times five, times, 52 weeks. Do the math. So right then and there, boom, you found the way to make more money. You actually learned how to save your money and do right by your money. Money is a tool. That's all money is. Money is a tool. So you got to utilize it and use it for yourself. Like, I got into the stock market. I learned how to invest my money. As black people, we are taught to save our money, but not to invest. So fathers, you can invest your money. There's many ways now to get into the stock market. Be smart about your money. Find a way to make a little bit of money and then flip it and learn. You see, that's the big thing that when I started getting around certain men, they was always talking about the child support. I wasn't. Honestly, I wasn't, because what's the point of talking about it? What's the point of getting mad about it? I gotta take care of my kid. So I,
Ooh, put a
you
pin,
know,
put a pin right there. Put a pin right there.
mhm.
Because you just said something. I was having a conversation with someone the other day. And when this guy told me, he said, I'm not going back to work. And I was like, why not? He said, well, when the stimulus came out, they took most of my money. He said, I had a good job and they were taking over half of my money. This, you hear the words that I'm using. Mine, mine, mine. It's not my kids need this. It's not the spouse, they took it. And every time I get a job, the government tracks me down and they take my money. But the kid's mama walking around with their nails done and their hair done. And, you're saying this to me, and I'm like, bro, I hear you. But if you're going to keep quitting jobs, you're going to always be the word you used in arrears.
Absolutely.
So now you're just making the situation worse and trying to figure out how we can work this out. You're making this situation better. And Michelle said, what angers me is when I hear women bragging about taking the fathers to court for child support, but their behinds are sitting home on government assistance as a career, not trying to better herself, talking bad about the dads. Michelle, sister, let me tell you about that. That's an awesome one. But it goes back to what something Chico mentioned. We have to change our way of thinking and we have to change our mentality. Because what they don't realize is that you're still under a form of slavery. I don't care how, in my opinion. Because if I have to jump through hoops to get your welfare check, and I have to jump through hoops to get your food stamp, I have to jump through hoops because you're paying my rent, then you're still controlling me. And some of this stuff is generational. It goes from one generation to the other. So we as a people, how do we break, this cycle? Because so many people have been in it forever, but it starts with the mental. We have to change our way of thinking. Kenneth Thompson, I need you to jump in on this. I think we had you on hold for long enough.
Oh man, Chico, I just gotta say, brother, I resonate with you on so many levels, and I know some other guys, some other family as well as friends resonate. We used to have meet together, just to talk about what we were going through and how can we not get around it, but create it to where like things are better in a way. And like you said, we had to start saving, we had to start investing. All those things you brought up, man, were excellent ideas. Cut back on spending, doing the things that you once did, and it's like I I know somebody who was in a situation where they were paying child support for another man's kid. At the time, they had a kid with the girl, but they put child support on him to pay, and the guy was living in the house with her at the time with the baby.
Listen,
And it's just so many senseless things that go on behind the scenes when the people who are doing what they do, because I was paying child support as well as buying whatever it was, school clothes or whatever, because of the situation she was in. I'm gonna put her business out or anything, but it was a whole lot. And then to how do I put this? I'm not angry, not anymore. But I look at it. I used to think I never know what my boys went through when they weren't with me, right? So I had to be sensitive to whatever was going on outside of that I wasn't privy to, and if they told me, then I would be privy to it. But if I didn't know, And I started looking at it like that more so, and not if they did something I didn't like or whatever, I talked to them about it, but not be so upset about it. You know what I mean? Because it can be heartbreaking, some of the things. But then I got to the point as well. Well, it all started with me. I had to, like you said, Chico, you have to go within yourself. And once you go within yourself, you can be empathetic and sympathetic toward other people, and that's where am in a sense to their mom. I don't know what her childhood was like or some of the things she experienced to kind of force her to make the choices she made later in life. You know what I mean? So I'm at a place in my life where I'm at peace with all of that. But while I was going through it, it was, oh man, it was a nightmare. It was so unfair. And what it is, like you brought up, Renee, it's the system is just like what they do at the prisons. They want to get you under them somehow, some way, that they can control whatever you do. And if they stop your money from coming, then they done stopped you from doing whatever, stop you from basically living. And that's why a lot of young men, they resort to crime or getting into a drug game or whatever it may be. But we have to educate them on the level where they have to believe in themselves. You know what I mean? That's where it's going to start. Like you were bringing out everything. People have to start questioning their motive behind things. Why am I in this situation? Once you take responsibility for everything, even if it doesn't appear to be your fault, you can control everything. If you attack the cause and not worry about the effect you want is going to come to resolution in life. So always attack the cause. Think about what the cause is, and that's what I started doing in my life. Like, I don't know how certain people handle certain situations they were growing up in, whether it be the kids, whether it be the mothers, but I do know that the only way you can reach people is, for lack of better words, love, but even deeper than that, compassion and understanding that some of the things in their lives that they perceive went wrong, or it's just a perception, because there's really, right or wrong is, it could be anything, given the perception behind it. And some of the choices that are made, it is can be relative. But you never have to pull back all those layers, basically, to get back to the root, the cause. And if you can get to the cause of anything, you can change anything. And just like the situation with child support and everything, and what you've done, and with a lot of us men have done, we've came out of it. I was so happy the day I gave him my pink slip. I was like, yeah. I got rid of pink slip. Huh?
I want to interject right there, though.
Okay.
But all that you're saying, it still goes back to self-healing.
Yeah, self-healing. That's what it is.
With everybody's been damaged in one way or another.
Everybody.
Everybody has. But
yep.
What we don't have is, when it comes down to our women, and I don't care what color they are, there are resources there for them. There are so many sources out here to help our women.
Yeah.
But there are not that many sources out here to help our men. And this is where I'm going at with you guys right now. I'm going to hold y'all accountable. My thing is, when our black guys know better and they understand, you have a responsibility and an accountability to reach back and each one teach one.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But the resources are not there, so you guys have to create the resources. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're going to do these workshops. We're going to get together and I'm going to mentor someone who's going through this. Because see, what I found out, and y'all have wives, and I'm a woman. One thing we will tell y'all, women are resourceful. Women can be very vindictive. And right now, if, if my husband there really did something to me I don't really like, don't you know my sisters would be over here whispering in my ear, telling me how we're going to do this. You know, this is what you need to do.
Which
This is
brings
what
me,
you need to do.
Renee, hold that thought
Huh?
right there. Put a pin in that. Which really, it could be a good thing, but it can be a horrible thing too. Because me and my
That's the
wife, we
point
had,
I'm making.
huh?
That's the point I'm making.
Oh, okay. Because me and Tal had a conversation the other night about this. She said we were watching something on TV, and she asked me what would I do, and I would be like, that's none of my business, so I'm not going to be in. But she was like, see what women will do? They'll get their girlfriends and start da 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 da. You got
That's the point.
it.
That's the point that I'm making.
Instead of talking
I'm
about
telling
whatever the issue or
you. There you
challenge
go.
is. Yeah.
That's the point that I'm making.
Okay.
These women, Chico done messed up. Chico done did this. Oh, I'm gonna make him hurt some more. Now, oh yeah, you need to do this and you need to do that. Because I lie. Women are vindictive.
Oh, I know. Oh.
They are very extremely vindictive. I don't have that in my bones anymore. But yeah, during my younger days, okay, you want to do this? Okay, I got you. But I'm saying, so when it comes down to our men, we need to educate our young men. And I will put this on top of that. Being that y'all went through what y'all went through, I'm going to say my opinion of it, and then I want to know what y'all going to tell our young men. Because my thing is, don't lay with everybody. Get to know who you're with. She may be beautiful and be fine as Gomer in the Bible, okay?
As who?
Gomer in the Bible.
Okay. But a Jezebel inside, huh?
Yes, there you go. But I'm saying, and then you don't know that you should know who you planting the seed with. And that's both ways, men and women.
Yeah.
So there's some crazy men out there too.
Oh yeah, they're just crazy people. Period.
Yeah,
And I'm not even gonna call them crazy. I'm just gonna say that they're in the dark. They don't know. I trust that they don't know better, and they're just ignorant to a lot of things. But I hope they wouldn't shun the light when people try to shine. But a lot of people run from the light when they feel like they're being exposed or what. So it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to mentor somebody who's like that. Who it's kind of hard because they already have it made up in their mind that this is them, and if you expose them, then they're just gonna run. You know?
I agree with you to a point. All I can do is offer you dinner. I can make dinner available to you. I
Absolutely.
can't make you eat it. So once I've done that, I've done my part. But they don't have a whole lot of things to turn to. When you look at your music, your videos, your TV, sex sells.
Yeah.
And that's it. So my last question to both of y'all is, okay, where you are right now, and if you was to know a guy out there that's going through what you guys described, and they came to you, or you made yourself available to them, what would be one of the biggest things that you would say to them?
Okay, well, I had this conversation on Monday, um, and this is what I told this individual. We had a whole conversation about his situation, and said, you have to visualize your future that you want.
Yes,
Whatever that is to you, you
yes.
have to visualize it. If you want to be in your kid's life, if you want to have an amazing time with your kids, if you don't want to be with your kids, that's your choice to make, but you have to visualize it. This particular individual was like, well, I want to be in my kid's life and I want this. I said, so, all right, so write down the next 7 years, what it looks like for you to be a successful father being in your child's life. But also write down in the next 7 years what it looks like to be a successful man in this world. And then I told him something that blew his mind. I said, this is what I told him. I said, the 13 years that I've been dealing with this amazing roller coaster, I got love for the mother. I got a lot of love for her. And the reason why I have a lot of love for her is because what she put me through created this personality that I am today. I had to take most of that responsibility, but she put me into a position where I had to be different. I had to be resourceful. I had to be less negative, with less emotional with my negative feelings. I had to get out there and get into action. I had to get uncomfortable. So I love you for that. Thank you for that. I'm not going to talk bad about you because you helped me create the life that I have right now, the wife that I have right now, the family that I have right now, the amazing career that I have right now, the businesses that I have right now, the just the mindset of positivity that I have right now. So when I told him that, he was blown away. Like, how can you love somebody like that? I said, well, it's not that I love them. I love the fact that they put me in this position to get uncomfortable. You see, life, our brains like to make us comfortable. That's why we do the same things over and over and over and over again. But when you start to get uncomfortable, you have to move. And life is about movement. And the more you move, the more you get to enjoy life. So she put the fire under my butt to start moving into different directions, to find the directions that I need to get into. You see, like I told my wife, I told my ex, and I told my mom, and I told other men, I have no regrets when it comes to this situation. All I have is lessons. If my child never, ever, 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 ever wants to see me again, I'm cool with it. Why? It's because I put the best 2 feet forward into that situation. That's all you can do in life. That's all you can do. You can be stuck there 13 years ago talking about the reason why I didn't get to see my daughter's birth, or I can move away from that conversation and create a lifestyle that I can be proud of. That's what I told this individual. And I'll continue to tell every father that, because once you let go of the past, your future is now being created. We're so stuck in the past. And I'm gonna say this, Mom, and then I'm gonna let Uncle go. I remember one time we was at Wits. Mom, we was there, and I forgot the old man's name, the poet. Forgot his name, Mom. And we started talking about family court. We started talking about the situation. Now, this man, I think he was probably in his 60s, maybe 70 years old. But this man, when he was telling me about his situation, you can see the hurt. You can see the sorrow. You can see all of that pain coming back to him as it was happening the day before. Now, mind you, his kids is old. He got grandkids now. And that really moved me to say, man, he's not over that. He's still stuck in that from the 60s. I don't want to be that man. I don't want to be stuck with a situation that's already passed as my future. I don't want to be stuck as that my present. I want to create whatever I want to create. I don't want to be stuck thinking about something that happened 15, 40 years ago, and I'm thinking about it as it happened yesterday. It's over. I'm over it. Thank you for doing exactly what you did to get me to this point. I don't know the mother's upbringing. I don't know what she had to go through. She did whatever she felt was best at the time, and I respect you for that, because it helped me to see how powerful I really am. And it was a horrific roller coaster in the beginning, and it still is to this day. But the one thing, I'm okay with it. I'm always going to be the father of my 13-year-old until I'm dead. And when I'm dead, Hey, ain't no regrets. That's how I live.
All right.
Well, I mean, that right there was powerful. And all that you said, the one that you just put up, Kenny, what was it? In order for those to
Uh,
become pure, you must go through the fire.
get all
Absolutely.
the drudge off you.
Absolutely.
That's deep right there. And all those things that you just said, it happened because you started healing. It doesn't. These things, the pain does not go away until you start healing. You have
Absolutely.
surgery. They cut you. I've been cut. I've had 5 surgeries, and I'll tell you, each one of them has been very painful. The day of and the day after, but then you start to heal.
Absolutely.
Once the healing is done, now we're gonna look at it from this point just a little bit. The healing is done. I'm not. The hurt is not there anymore. But every once in a while, you go to get in that shower, or whatever, you see that scar. Now, what you gonna do with that scar? You're gonna look at that scar and say, "Oh, I remember when I was here, and I'm so far along now to where I'm so much better." Or I'm gonna be like a little kid and look at that scar, and the scar I got 15 years ago when I'm walking up to mommy and saying, "Oh, mommy, look, I got a boo boo," because it didn't hurt until I look at it again. So we have choices, and like you said, it takes time. Some people get through things faster than they do others. But at least if you're working on getting through them, that's when you're starting to heal. And Kenny, we're gonna jump over to you because it's already after 8. We're gonna give you a
And the
chance.
Cowboys play tonight. No.
They're loving
I don't watch sports.
it.
No, I'm enjoying this, Chico. I'm really it was a pleasure, truly a pleasure and an honor to have you bring this wisdom and these gold kernels to the masses, even to myself, just to reaffirm and recommit to the things that I've already been doing. You know, hearing it from another person adds that much more solidarity into it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And what was the question I'm supposed to be answering now, Renee? I'm sorry.
Oh, when you gonna talk too long, we'll be okay. Uh, and all the
Oh,
things
what
that
would
you
I
know,
tell somebody else who's in this situation,
yes.
or what would I tell my younger self? That's how I think
Well,
about it now.
okay,
I think
you
about,
do it your way.
yeah, if I would tell my younger self or somebody else because I would be open to listen to me. But the thing you have to drive home, and you have to be delicate with it when you're talking to people because you don't know their background. You know what I mean? You don't know where they came from and how they interpret things that you can be saying to help them. They might be looking at it as you putting them down somehow, and that you have to. There's a fine line for that because you never know what a person has went through or been through for the mindset that they have. And if somebody who really wants to change, they're going to change because they're going to attract what they need to attract. They're going to attract a conversation. They're going to be walking by something will play on the radio. Something will happen where it will trigger that thought that they've been thinking about changing. And I'm a firm believer in that because it has happened to me on so many levels. And that's why I believe each of us, you, Chico, Reese, each individual in this world, our main priority here, I believe this is my mantra for life, is to remind one another to remember who and what they really are and where they came from. You know, just because your life gets discombobulated and disoriented doesn't mean that that's who you are. We are all bigger than all of that stuff. All of this stuff that happens to us, it opens us up to like Chico said, to our grandest version of ourselves. You know, so to put the fire under you and get all the dredge off the top of the gold. Pressure, like Cammy said, pressure creates
Yes.
diamonds. You know,
Absolutely.
And not that you want it, because when you're going through it, it feels like the worst thing in the world. But when I look back over this now, I have, like Chico, I have love and compassion for my kids' mom. And I actually went up there for my grandson's birthday, and we talked. It was a pleasant time. You know, it was no drama or anything. And I know part of that was me too, because I didn't go there with an attitude or anything. I was at peace with a lot of what has taken place over the years. So if I had to tell anybody that, I was just tell them, simple and succinct, just remember to remind yourself just how truly great you are, you know? And that greatness can be whatever they think it is, because everything starts with thought. And our thoughts dictate our character, our habits. Well, our thoughts dictate our habits, and our habits dictate our character. And depend on where you are on the polarity with your habits, is going to be where you are in your character. It's like the vocabulary people use. For instance, vulgar language or whatever. If every word that comes out of their mouth is that, then you know that their character is really not something conducive for society as a whole, or something that can be upbuilding. And if the goal is to upbuild one another, you want to do things to remind people to remember just how great they are. And I just go back to that again, because that's my philosophy, right? And not much as a philosophy as it is my way of life. You know?
Very good. Absolutely.
Well, that was a good one too.
Yeah,
And
I have that written on my mirrors.
okay. And now I want to say, us as a people, men and women, we need to find our way back into supporting each other,
Yep.
learning to communicate with each other, because communication is key in a lot of the chaos that goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wanted to go touched on it. If I come to you and I'm all hot headed and I'm mad, the first response I'm going to get is you're going to fire back.
Defense. Yep.
Jump into that defense mode. So whether it's a baby daddy or whether a baby mama or even kids, because once they get to a certain age, then they start developing their feelings on how they feel about what they thought dad should have did or what
yeah.
mom didn't do, you know. So we have to find that healing cycle there. So
Yep.
where we can start healing and unite. Even that we're not married and the children is there, what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes down to the children, where everybody is in the same space, not physically, but as far as what's best for the
For the
kids in their
child.
upbringing.
Yeah. It's like
You know, so
I reminded Ken and Kavan when they were younger. I always told them that they were flowers coming up through concrete, you know? Because I don't know everything they totally experienced. And I haven't walked in their shoes, so I can't say this is this and because I say so and all of that. I never wanted to do like that with them. I never was like that with them, because they're being a child myself. Certain things happen in my life that I had no answers or anything about, you know, and I knew that I didn't want that for them. So that change started in me as far as that's concerned when I was a kid, but I see it now on a level, like you were saying, Renee, as far as our community right now and eventually the world. But as far as our community, we have to start with ourselves, and each individual starts with themselves. That's when the community starts to be built, because we'll be all operating on that frequency of where we're building one another up, supporting one another, being there with one another, you know. And that's a beautiful frequency right there, frequency of love, if some may call it. But it's a frequency that brings people together and builds people up. And if our community, we can do that on a mass level, that like it's like what the Bible said. When God looked down on Babel when they were building the tower, and he said they've all come together, and if they come together and do this, there'll be nothing they can't do. So he You split the language.
Right,
You know that.
right.
You know what I'm talking about.
But that word I was looking for, co-parent,
Co-parents. Yeah.
Co-parenting. Yeah.
co-parenting.
And
Yes,
you have
it
to
makes a
treat
difference.
what I learned too. Something that I heard that I was like, wow. And that's how I see it now. It was like I had a bonus dad, if you will. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It was like a bonus dad. And if the other person is involved with somebody, that would be the kind of relationship and insight that you would want your kids to be around. Like it's a bonus dad or a bonus mom for them. You know what I
Right,
mean?
because we had that.
Yeah. Yep. We
We
called it
did. We had.
step in, but I like the term bonus.
I
Yeah,
love
that's a
the
better
term
word. That's a
bonus
better word, better
because
phrase.
Yeah.
I'm
any
a bonus
man,
dad. Love it.
I love it. I love the term bonus because any man or woman who could connect with a child that is not their seed and treat that child like it is theirs, that child becomes theirs.
It does.
Yes,
It
that
does.
is a bonus.
Absolutely.
That is.
That's a huge bonus.
It's a
But
beautiful thing.
okay, we at 8:15, guys.
Oh yeah.
It was great. Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, Dallas about to start. But let me just say, I want to thank all these lovely people for commenting tonight. Ramona,
Yes.
Cami, Ann, Michelle. Oh my God, I can't even go back right now. But there's so many. I want to thank all of you
Yes.
for with your beautiful comments, your beautiful words for thoughts, your beautiful presence in our life, gracing us humbly, respectfully,
Yes.
and lovingly. So we
Yes.
thank you so much,
Yes.
Facebook, for joining us tonight. And I want to just give a shout out to my main man, Chico. Dude, I want to talk to you. I'm serious. I want to talk to you about something, all right?
All
Huge.
right, cool. All
And
right.
I think you are an amazing just I don't know. I don't even know what to call you, man. You're more than human. You know, you're amazing. You're
Thank you. Thank
amazing. And
Amazing
you
too,
your words of wisdom, dude. Your spirit is just it's a wonderful thing, dude. I
Yeah,
want to
thank you.
talk to you about some things
Oh,
seriously.
whatever. Hold
And
on.
Renee,
Let go.
I want to say
Huh?
to you, congratulations on your new book.
Absolutely.
I got to give it up for you. And also, congratulations on all the wonderful guests that you're bringing to the show to share their wisdom, to enlighten us, to guide us, as well as you, Miss Beautiful. Smile for me. There you go. Nah, sure, there you go. So, with that said, Renee,
Chico.
Chico, you have
Yes.
anything you
I
want
just
to
want to
say?
thank everybody. I'm gonna let Chico go ahead, and then
Okay,
I'm gonna come
Chico.
in behind.
Oh, I didn't hear you, Mom. What you say?
Chico, any final words
Say
of
something to
wisdom you
the
want to
people. Your
share?
final
Oh, yeah.
word.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody has an opportunity to create peace in their life. Create it. You only got one life to live. Don't get stuck in the past. Don't get too mad. Control your emotions. Find a good woman. Find a good man. Settle down. Create some type of impact that will get you uncomfortable, to get you out there to move. And stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Start worrying about what you need to do to create the success that you need for yourself, for your families. Fathers, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. Don't give up on your kids. Don't give up on love. Don't give up on family. Don't give up on yourself. Because at the end of the day, all you have is you and the people that are around you. So make sure you love yourself first and love everybody else around you, because they're going to love you too. Love comes within. Love comes from within. I'm going to say it one last time. Love comes from within. Do not seek love from anywhere outside besides you. Love yourself. Truly love yourself. Fathers, I salute everybody that's taking care of their kids, and the ones that aren't, there's
They
somebody out there
will.
like
They
me.
will. They will. They just have to come into the light.
Absolutely. And there's
Yeah.
somebody out there like me that has certain things. Like I'm dropping a book soon called Court in Between, dealing with hurting fathers, dealing with the family court. I also have an ebook, 12 Steps to an Amazing Weekend Dad, that will be dropping soon, because I'm committed to this pandemic. I'm the shot, I'm the jab. And whoever else comes along with me, they're going to be the shot. They're going to be the jab that you need to create happiness in your life. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Uncle.
Thank you, Chico. I mean, it was just awesome tonight. And I just want to thank you all. I mean, the comments, the people who checked in to watch, and
Absolutely.
this is not the last time, because we're going to bring the mother side in also.
Oh yeah.
You know, these single mothers who are raising these children, and they've been through the ringer. We're not just going to show one side of it, because there's so many different sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't attacking my women tonight. I just want y'all, y'all, let's keep it real, because we got some issues within ourselves that we got to heal too.
Yeah.
It's not one sided.
I
And
want
I
to
love
say.
you guys. Huh?
I want to say one thing too, as far as relationships is concerned. I meant to say this, piggyback off earlier, but I thought of something else because the conversation was so engaging. But in relationships, always remember there's 6 people involved. Okay, there's your perception of you, there's who you truly are, and there's who your mate sees you as. That's 3 right there, and then 3 for the woman. So just be mindful of that. And if you can make all 3 of those become the one and balance, you've done something amazing.
Absolutely.
Oh man, you just put it all together. Guys, remember my website is up now. It's up to date. www.thebigregkids.org. You can go there, get the books, the workbooks. We got some other stuff that's coming. And y'all just stay tuned. And all we want to say is we love you guys.
Love you. Thank you for tuning in
Next
tonight.
Thursday.
All
See you
right.
next Thursday. Same Big Rig Kids time. Same Grandma Polly channels.
Hang out in the green room for a second, Chico.
Love you guys.
Just stay there. Love you.
The big rig kids, roll with the big rig kids. Let's Sapphire the truck take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids. See how they give and grow and get to know amazing things. Learn with the big rig kids, and you'll see how it is to have adventure days and hang and play with all your friends. Because the big rig kids know what it is to live a most exciting and inviting life is positive. Sapphire with the voice of wisdom keeps the story rolling, and by golly, Grandma Polly drives them all to where they're going. Hop on in, everybody. Let's go! Caden, he's the leader of the crew. He's smart and brave and true. Sasha, Caden's twin, she cares a lot but can be stubborn too. Caden loves a good book too. And then Sasha, she's a regular computer guru. These are the big rig kids. Roll with the big rig kids. Let Sapphire the truck take you to such amazing places with the big rig kids. Those helpful big rig kids. See how they give and grow and get to know amazing things. Now Maria can be rude and bossy, braces on her legs and knees, but it's not fun and hard to run with a disability.